Okay. You know the drill. I could not get ready today. I'm sorry. Hello. I'm so sorry. If you wanted to turn it off right now, that would be totally fine. Oh, goodness gracious. What the hell is up, guys? How are you guys? Welcome back to the Human Experience Podcast. Hyped to be here, per usual. I wanted to kind of start off by saying thank you guys for tuning in to last week's episode. I want to kind of start by just recapping a couple of the things that you guys had for me. I had a couple people reach out actually on Instagram, and you guys came up with some good shit. Like, you guys had some really good points for me about everything, about the fact that we, are using tarot and all this sort of stuff, and is it toxic, is it not toxic? So I'm really grateful for all of your comments and concerns. No, a lot of people actually had some really good shit to say, but yeah, obviously, like, it was uncomfortable for some people to hear that a tarot reader didn't want to support tarot, but it wasn't that. Obviously, if you listened to the episode, you knew that I was really coming from a good place, and I think that tarot is fantastic, and I think there's so many good things about it. A lot of people were saying as well, a lot of my tarot friends that got back to me were saying that they find the same thing, that people are really fucking reaching, honestly, for lack of a better term, people really just utilize tarot to, like, get answers when they, like, don't want to figure it out for themselves. And sometimes we need a little bit of tough love in those moments and to just kind of sit through it. Now, that's not most of you, but there's definitely, some people out there, my fucking self included, honestly, that just kind of asks spirit and hopes for that answer and goes with that as the truth instead of, like, sitting through it. Meanwhile, you guys know what the fuck to do. Half the time when I do a reading, you guys already know what the hell you should be doing or what you want to do. You just want tarot or me to, like, agree with you. And so, yeah, I think that the whole idea of tarot is fantastic and super helpful if you utilize it for yourself and kind of getting closer with yourself, building a relationship with self. But if you're using it to skim over the work, like, you're really missing the whole point of tarot. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. And so thank you guys for all of your comments last week. A lot of tarot readers were basically just saying, like, that they utilize it for the same things that I do, and they were all seeing the same sort of patterns in themselves as well, and mostly that it's really helpful when people use it to find the blocks in their own lives. So if you're using tarot to find where you need to be focused within yourself, that can be super helpful. That's a point that I did not make, that one of my friends made, finding that within yourself, finding those blocks and having spirit and tarot kind of point you in that direction to where you need to release within yourself and where you need to kind of work on yourself almost. So that can be super helpful. So there's a couple concepts for you, but I'm really grateful for you guys writing me and just kind of giving my 2 cents. A lot of you were like, wow, you really speak your mind. I'm like, yeah, I I really leave nothing out, apparently, even if it's totally uncalled for and controversial. That's me for you. Anyways, so guys, thank you for that. Now I just kind of want to recap on my case study for a second, because obviously I love talking about myself. It's my favorite thing to do. I'm a huge narcissist, and I have to talk about myself every 20 minutes or else I just combust. So you guys can now sit through my case study of what I'm going through in my life, and I can just kind of rant for a second, and you guys can kind of, fill that gap where therapy should probably be. No, but my last week has been a big one, honestly. So I haven't actually told you guys this yet, but I guess I'll just tell you now, and then I'll tell you again on Instagram. But act surprised when I tell you on Instagram, okay? Act surprised. Don't tell anybody I told you. But I've created a course. Yeah. I don't even know how to say this. I created a course. It's basically the work that I was doing on myself for the past couple months. I turned it into a course because I feel like a lot of people were asking me, what to do. And this is honestly the answer. This is what I do for myself. This is what works. If you know me at all, you know that I struggle with anxiety, depression, all that funny, juicy, flirty stuff. Super spicy. And so I just kind of created that course to kind of go along with it. Now, this isn't a fucking, infomercial. Not the point. The point is that finishing that course, because I finished filming just the other day, this week actually, and that was a lot to take in, honestly, because I kind of realized, like, I've been sitting on this information for years. I've been traveling, meeting people, growing spiritually for literally the past decade, it feels like, which is ridiculous because I'm 25. So people that are under 30 shouldn't even be using the term decade, but I'm going to use it out of turn here. The last decade I've been traveling and meeting people and growing this information, and it's not even mine to hold on to. Like, I'm sitting on this information as though, I created it, and I don't want to, like, I should be telling the whole world what I've learned. So I kind of realized that this isn't mine to sit on, and I need to be sharing it. So I'm gonna, but I really have never, I think, believed in myself enough to actually put this all together, like, and actually think that, like, anyone would give a fuck about a course. And I still don't really know, like, I have no idea, but I just kind of had to do it. And as soon as I did it and was able to actually put it together into a course and build the website on the thing and the blah 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 blah, I kind of sat back and I was like, holy fucking shit, that's insane to me that I actually was able to do it. That's a big moment for me. And it's not like a, whoa, congratulations. Like, that's not, although I am fishing for sure for compliments always. No, I'm not actually. I'm really just kind of sitting back and being like, why did I not believe in myself sooner to be able to do this? I've had this information for years. Why only now am I putting this, together into a business model that could really, really work and making spiritual healing accessible and affordable for people? Why am I only doing this now? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I, honest to God, did not believe in myself. I can truly come to the table and say I did not believe in myself, and I shut myself down every single time. And I actually had to do the work that I made the course about enough times so that I actually did believe in myself. Here's the thing about me, another fun fact, as we're on the topic of me. I love having people save me. Something about my human just learned to just let people save her. I don't know why. I try to be such an independent person, but when it comes down to it, I really have this pattern of just letting people save me and looking for people to save me and looking for others to do things instead of me having to do them, and so for whatever reason, instead of putting this course together and building a business and doing that for myself and even getting a job, which is what I'm mostly doing with my life right now, I've just been coasting. Like, I've had all these plans for years now, but something in me just deflects and looks to other people to either save me or take my mind off of it, or, I just constantly deflect to all of these, what I like to call addictions or codependencies or grasping. I'm just grasping at things outside of myself because really at the end of the day, I didn't believe in myself. It sounds so cliche and so silly. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, you didn't believe in yourself. No, I really didn't. This is extremely straightforward. I could have done this years ago. I just didn't, and I deflected instead, and I've been running from it, and so yeah, now here we are, and I accidentally put a course together, and so I've filmed it, I'm creating like a little, journal full of prompts to go with it, and then I'm gonna launch it. So this is the infomercial, actually. Yeah, do buy the course, please, so that I feel validated. You have to validate me so that I continue to believe in myself, because if the course doesn't do well, then I will automatically feel like shit. No, I'm completely kidding, obviously. Nobody has to buy this course in order for me to believe in myself, because honestly, it wasn't about selling the course. It was about actually putting it together. It was about actually filming it. It was about taking myself seriously enough, because as I was filming it, I had to reassure myself that I wasn't completely daft, like every minute on the minute. Like I would be talking and filming and I would have to stop because I was like, I would literally be screaming at myself in my own head. You're an idiot. This is stupid. This is actually stupid. You need to stop. This is embarrassing. This is cringy. Blah, 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 blah. It was ridiculous. You know, by the 7th week or whatever of filming and creating this course, suddenly I as I was doing the course as well, because I filmed it while I was doing it, so I kind of do it at the same time as you guys, which creates a fun energy of the blind leading the blind. It got easier, you know, to believe in myself. Got a lot easier. And nobody saved me. I've as you'll probably know if you do end up taking the course, nobody saved me. That's kind of part of the course. But yeah, crazy feeling. So that's where I'm at in my personal life, because every single episode I have to talk about myself or else, you know, I'll combust. But yeah, it's just a crazy feeling to believe in myself a little bit, like just a little bit. We're kind of getting there. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that or have put something off and you realize like the literal point. Like I know people say like, why aren't you doing this? Oh, it's because you don't believe in yourself. Like, yeah, no, but it's because of this and it's because of that. It's because I don't have the information, or it's because this isn't a good business model, or I don't have the time or whatever. And it's like, I said all those things. And like, really it was as simple as I thought I was a piece of shit. Like, it was that simple. So when I finished it, I was like, huh, interesting. Okay. Wow. What a life. I don't know, that was a lesson I learned this week, and so hopefully you can take something from that, resonate, and if you're waiting to start something, I hate to be the motivational Tony Robbins motherfucker, but like, truly it's because you don't believe in yourself. Like, if you're procrastinating, it's not about the time, it's not about the anything, it's literally just because you don't believe in yourself. You think you're a piece of shit. And like, that's fine, because like, same. But you're not a piece of shit. And you should definitely do the thing. And you shouldn't let your human bully you into not doing the thing that you kind of want to do. Because, hey, this life is short. Like, do the thing just for fun. Like, not even for the money, not even for the, what if it works, what if it... Fuck it. Like, just do it to show yourself that you did it. It doesn't even matter if you launch it or not. Like, just do it to say fuck you to your own human. To that bully in your head that's learned to bully you over these years. God, what a terrible thing that we're bullying ourselves out of doing something fun in this life. Anyways. Okay, let's get into the topic of the week. That being said, usually podcasters would probably have like an ad there, but this is listened to by like 5 people, so we don't have an ad there. Instead, we're going to go right into the topic of the week, which is going to be about soul union relationships, which again will probably get all 4 of you to listen to this podcast, because that's like a huge topic that everybody wants to talk about, is always soul union relationships. It's always about another person, I remember at the beginning of Eat, Pray, Love, my favorite movie, she says that, yeah, like everybody around the world, her friend's a journalist, and she's, trying to interview people from other countries that are dealing with really, really hard political, things in their everyday life. And all anyone cares about, even though, tons of struggle in their own life, all anyone cares about is like who they're dating, who they're talking to. Like, this is all anyone cares about. That was a terrible description of the movie, but if you've seen it, which hopefully you have, if you haven't, please go watch Eat, Pray, Love. It's very important. But it's a terrible description, but it's basically just saying, like, doesn't matter where you are in the world, doesn't matter what's going on, love is always such a big part of it. Like, figuring out your relationship and how we interact and have relationships with other people is always basically all anyone cares about. And for good reason. It can be so amazing to have those kind of soul union relationships in your life that everybody's kind of after. But how do we get into them is a question that I've gotten a lot from clients, and also that a question that I've asked myself, like, throughout my breakup from what I, had thought was a soul union connection, and, you know, coming back into that relationship, coming back out of that, like in and out of relationships. I've had several that I thought were soul union relationships that weren't. Really, it has nothing to do with the other person. That's something that the main point of this. It has zero to fucking do with the other person. I hate to break it to you. It doesn't matter what's going on with them. You're not going to get into a relationship based on the other person. If you are in or out of a soul connection relationship, meaning whether you want to call one in, like call in a really deeply soul connected relationship, if you want to call one back in, if you're in one but kind of losing it, or if you're in one and you want to keep it and you want to keep it healthy and you want to keep growing, no matter what, it's not about the other person. You know, I'll tell you something. When you're in a relationship that's not really a soul connection relationship, like it's a great relationship and maybe you think that you're going to be perfect for each other, but, you know, it's really codependent and, you know, kind of attached and a bit jealous and not a lot of freedom there. That's not what I would consider a soul connection, you know, because if you guys were to work on yourselves instead of on each other and the relationship, you wouldn't have a relationship. Whereas in a soul connection, when you work on yourself and the other person works on themselves, your relationship strengthens. Because your souls working on getting closer to yourself is in turn getting closer to the other person. Because your souls have that connection. So the deeper you go towards your soul and the deeper they go towards their soul, the healthier your relationship is just going to be. It's a byproduct. It's a fucking byproduct. Here's the issue. And this is kind of an offshoot topic, but a lot of it revolves around desire. We desire these relationships. We desire a connection with someone. That's something that we desire. And so instead of going inwards, we chase that desire. Now, in chasing desire, we think that we're working on ourselves or whatever, we're doing the right things. Even if we're doing something that seems like a good thing to do in order to call in that relationship, it's still chasing the desire of having the relationship. You gotta go the opposite way. You gotta give up the desire. You have to release the desire. Not because you don't want a relationship, just because it's not the point. It's not the way to call it in. When you're chasing the other person, when you're chasing the relationship, when you're chasing the love to fill the whatever, to fill the void, let's call it, within you, even if you don't think you are, if you're desiring a relationship and not focusing on your connection to your own soul, then first of all, you're not going to call in a soul connection. You're going to call in somebody that's also chasing something. And so you're both chasing something outside of yourselves, and you're going to attach and you're going to claw at each other until it rips apart. And you're going to think, what the fuck just went wrong? Well, because you were chasing that desire. If anything, that's kind of in life, we think that we chase, you know, we need to focus on desire and have the motivation and work really hard. And then when it fails, we're like, how did this happen? And then we, you know, have to find the motivation and the desire again to keep going. And it's just this cycle. How do you break this cycle? You build relationship with self. That's what the course is about. But this is truly not an infomercial. This is me just trying to answer your guys' questions about this. But you have to focus on building relationship with self. Because when you are connected to your soul, the other person that you're trying to call in, whether you know them, whether you're with them, whether you don't know them yet, and if they are connecting to their soul, focusing on themselves, then the two of you together can find that soul connection. But when we're in our human bullshit, chasing desires, all this sort of stuff, we're just going to run to the other humans that are also chasing human desires. And sometimes that can feel like chemistry, that can feel like a connection, but that's just going to continue the cycle of bullshit. So if you want to call yourself out of it, literally give it up. Give up the shit. Give it up. Give it up. And in its place, Focus inwards. Focus on building your relationship with yourself. Okay, you want to know how to, pour into someone? Pour into yourself. Okay, you want to know how to, communicate well? Communicate with yourself. I'm talking actively. I talk to a wall half the time. Talk out loud to yourself about what you're feeling. Ask yourself questions that you would want to ask your partner. Practice giving a shit about someone before you have an external person. Give a shit about yourself, how you're feeling and what you're doing. Focus on self. That's what that means. Build that relationship with yourself, with your soul. Learn who your soul is, what that means, what that is. Do you even know? Fuck, I barely know. It can be challenging. We're not taught how to build a relationship with our soul. We're not taught how to do that because not many people know, because not many people have cared. You know why actually we haven't done it? Is because it requires giving up all the human bullshit. It requires trusting our human learned things less and trusting our gut more. And we want to trust logic. We're this is kind of far out a bit, but we want to trust logic instead of our gut feeling. We want to trust things that we can see, that we can perceive, instead of our gut. And so we trust, the tactics of getting into a relationship. We trust the learned things that some other human has been taught by some other human about how to call in a soul connection. Well, what the fuck does that human know about a soul? You know who knows about your soul? Your soul. That's the only place that you're going to find the answers. That's the only way you're going to call this in. It's not by talking to the other person. It's not by convincing them. It's not by even pouring into them. It's about pouring into you. And finding someone that also pours into you. And so that you can pour into them while they're pouring into themselves. Do you see what I'm saying? The relationship is the byproduct. What you desire has to be the byproduct of your own personal growth, your own personal learning. So if you want to cut the cycle of the bullshit people that you keep calling into your life, or you finally found a soul connection, you want to keep working on yourself while you're in it. That was my biggest thing, is that I do a lot of this soul work. I found this soul connection, and then I was very confused because I don't know how to be in love with someone and work on myself at the same time. I've never been in a soul connection before. I've only been in relationships where, you have to constantly be focused on the other person in order to keep the relationship alive. I've never been with someone that focuses on themselves, and so, I'm focused, me focusing on myself in a relationship. I don't know how to do that. I also don't know how to feel love while the other person is focused on themselves. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me because I've been taught that, love looks a certain way. It looks pretty attached, right? It looks like them pouring into me when really, them pouring into themselves and me pouring into myself, our souls will then be in the healthiest state for us to actually be in connection. Make sense? So even if you've done this soul work on your own and then you're in this soul connection and you don't know how to keep it going strong, you got to keep doing your soul work. And you got to unlearn how you think love is supposed to look and how you're supposed to receive love. That's a fucking hard one. That one hurts. I'm still working on that every day. You're going to learn you're pretty codependent. You didn't even know it. You thought you were a pretty independent person, but it's not your fault. It's just what you've been taught. And it's not the person that taught you's fault. It's what they were taught. Our human bullshit, it's nobody's fucking fault. We gotta let go of the fault. It's just learned. Let's just forgive it. Let's unlearn it. How do you unlearn something? Well, you have to take your trust out of logic and put your trust in nothing, really. I guess gut, in your own gut. In the things that you can't perceive, that's where you have to put your trust. And so you come into your soul's work, your work with yourself, your relationship with yourself, even when you find the person. That's how you call in a soul connection, or you keep a soul connection, or you call back a soul connection. You have to give up the worrying about the other person. It's not to say that you can't worry about the person at all. It's just to say that that's not the focus. You can do it. You're a human. You can do whatever. Please understand that anytime I talk about, you not being able to do something that's a very human thing to do the human thing. You're going to do it. Just be conscious of the fact that it's a human learned thing and don't feed into it. Does that make any goddamn sense? When you do something human, let's say that you're really flustered about this other person in this relationship, right? You're allowed to be flustered. You're a human being. You've been taught to be flustered. First of all, forgive you're human and accept it, right? First rule of business is accepting that we are humans, forgiving our human for being human and not trying to change our human, but taking ourselves out of that human space and saying, what's real here? Well, if this person and I have a true soul connection, then I got to connect back with my soul. Because if they are my mirror and they're moving away from me, that's mirroring to me that I'm moving away from my soul. Make sense? So if your soul connection is nowhere fucking near you, well, that's probably a mirror for how far away you are from your soul. Yeah. So you got to go back. You got to build that foundation. You can continue to be the human that's worried about the other person, that wants the other person, that has the desires. I'm not saying scrap your humanity. I'm not saying judge your humanity. The first thing I start to do when I hear this is yeah, you're right. I'm being such a human. Yeah, continue to be a human. Stop judging your human. Just pull yourself out of it altogether. Just say, okay, my human's allowed to be this, but what's real here? What's really going on? It's not about that maybe this person isn't for me, maybe I don't love them, blah, blah, blah. No, it has nothing to do with that. Maybe they don't love me, they're not pouring into me. Shut the fuck up for a second. Shut the fuck up for a second. What's going on here? Their soul and my soul need work, but I'm in charge of my soul and they're in charge of their soul. So what we need to do here is each of us work on our own souls. And that's how to call in a soul union. That's how you do it. It's very simple. You build relationship with your own soul. You let them build their relationship with their own soul, and let me tell you, they have free will. And if they don't want to build a relationship with their own soul, they don't have to. In which case, you probably won't come into a relationship in this human lifetime. You will have to, be in the illusion that you are separate for this lifetime until they decide to work on their soul too. And so if you're in a soul connection and you feel you are working on your soul and you don't feel that they are, well, then it's your job to continue working on your soul and continue to do that. Focus on you. It seems so simple when I say it like that, no? It's no shit, work on yourself. But it's challenging because we have to get past all of our human bullshit. So first and foremost, give yourself a break. You're a human being. God, that's the whole point of this podcast. It's the whole point of all of the work that I do within God Complex. Give yourself a goddamn break. You're a fucking human. It is enough trying to be some fucking deity, godlike figure. Oh, let it go. Let it go. So start with the desire. I want to kind of come back to that really quickly before we end off for today, but come back to the desire. Why do you want the relationship? Because you got to break the desire. You got to let the desire end up happening because it's a byproduct, not because it's the work. So why do you have the desire? Why do you want this person in your life? Well, because, life is better when they're in it. Okay? Have you ever had a relationship with yourself? Have you ever even experienced that? Having that, let's call it other person in your life be you. Have you ever had that? It's fucking fantastic. Not to say that I stay in it all the time, but me and myself, we're on and off. But having that other person in your life is amazing when it's yourself. It's so fulfilling. And then having your mirror on top of that, your soul connection with you as well within that space. You have yourself and your physical manifestation of your other half, or whatever the fuck. I hate that word, but you know what I mean. God, that's fantastic. So cut the desire out of the picture. You just want the other person? No, you just want to find some peace. That's what's really happening here. You want the other person because the other person makes you happy. You're in this life and you want to be happy within this life. You want to have peace, have happiness, have bliss, and that other person adds to that and all that good shit. Yeah. You want a bit of peace. You want a bit of happiness, a little bit of bliss. The only way to have that is to come from self. You build that foundation within yourself, then bliss just follows you. Peace just follows you. That other person, they're icing on the cake. God, the miracles that you can feel once you have that relationship with self, that's euphoric. But if you only have the other person, then what are you going to do? They can come in and out. Then your peace is fleeting. What if they die? When they die, what happens then? You're not happy anymore? You don't find peace? No. You have a birthright connection to peace. It's called your soul. Go build your relationship with yourself, with your soul. Find your peace within yourself. Find that center of everlasting peace within yourself that is far from temporary, lasts long, much longer than your human self. And from that space, everything else is a byproduct. Everything else is a byproduct. Well, guys, I hope that was helpful for today. That's at least what I've been working on. Again, write me. We'll go through what you guys kind of go through with me next week at the beginning of the episode. So I'd love to hear from you guys, what you think, your questions, comments, concerns. Hit me up on Instagram, healwithgc. And have an awesome rest of your day, guys. I love you so much.